Autopsy Room, Unit 64. I am Dr. Gwen Madison Akira, and what we have today laid out on this stainless steel slab is nothing short of a full-blown festival of tactical horror. Case file: Game of Carlsen versus Duda. Time of death: Move 41. Preliminary cause: homicide by tactical brilliance, with the added charge of public humiliation. The chessboard is a bloodbath, a crime scene where pieces weren't simply captured. They were dismembered with a level of premeditation bordering on the pathological. Our prime suspect, a repeat offender by the name of Magnus Carlsen, seems to take sick pleasure in this demolition sale massacre, handing out his own rooks and bishops like a butcher who's completely lost his mind. The victim, Jan-Krzysztof Duda, did his best to fight back, but it was the equivalent of trying to stab your attacker while he's already performing a tracheotomy on you with a spoon. So, sharpen your scalpels and slip on your gloves, because we're about to dissect this slaughter move by move. And trust me, the final report isn't going to be pretty. Allow me to suit up, and let's begin. All right then, get comfortable, because this story of trolling and malice begins with Magnus making it clear from move 1 that he's not playing the game you want him to play. The drama kicks off with e4. The boss move, Duda, a predator of the board who is about to learn that there are much bigger fish in the pond, replies with c5, the Sicilian defense. This move is the universal handshake, meaning, oh, you want to fight? Fine, but we're gonna have it in a dark alley with my rules. And here's where Magnus starts trolling. Instead of following the main theoretical highways, he goes for c3, the Alpine variation. That's like getting invited to a black tie gala and showing up in pajamas. Duda, unfazed, continues with knight to f6. Magnus pushes with e5, the classic get out of my sight, you nuisance. The knight relocates with knight to d5. Magnus develops with knight to f3. Duda shores things up with e6. And now Magnus strikes with d4. Duda, sticking to the Sicilian playbook, counters with c takes d4. Now here comes the first salty. Instead of recapturing with a pawn, Magnus plays bishop to d4. Duda answers with knight to b6. A strategic retreat, or in plain speech, the knight takes a step back just to stay out of the way, because he already senses trouble in the center. The white bishop backs up with bishop to b3, and now Duda spots the chance of a lifetime. A pawn on c3. Lonely and undefended, of course, he snaps it up. D takes c3. Hold the presses. Duda's just won a pawn for free. At this exact moment, he probably felt a small wave of joy. Minor detail though, in Magnus's universe, the word free doesn't exist. That pawn is nothing but a Trojan horse. Magnus immediately recaptures. Knight takes c3. Duda does the principled thing and fights for the center with d5. After the exchange, e takes d6, bishop takes d6. Magnus calmly castles, kingside castle. Duda develops his last minor piece with knight to c6. Now, if you showed this position to a normal player, they'd tell you black looks amazing. Extra pawn, solid development. What could possibly go wrong? Well, what could go wrong is called Magnus Carlsen, and he's about to prove that logic doesn't apply when he's across the board from you. With the board already set up like a bear trap, this is where Magnus starts slow cooking his evil plan. He plays queen to e2, a move that basically whispers, I see you. Duda, feeling the danger, tries h6. This is like carefully putting a band-aid over the crack in Titanic's hull. Do you think Magnus is going to ease up? No way. Rook to d1. X-rays straight through queen and king. Duda, in controlled panic mode, tries queen to e7. The pressure ramps up. Magnus leaps forward with knight to e4, forcing Duda's bishop to retreat to bishop to b7. Magnus adds more troops to the party, bishop to e3. Duda attempts to untangle with knight to d7. And look at that knight. It's the living embodiment of awkwardness, sitting there blocking his own troops. like that party guest who brings up politics at a kid's birthday. But Magnus doesn't care. He continues the squeeze, rook to c1. Finally, Duda castles with kingside castle. He tucks his king away into safety, the kind of horror movie safety where the protagonist hides in a closet, not realizing the killer is already inside that closet, and has also changed the Wi-Fi password. Because just then, Magnus unleashes the storm with knight to d4, and here Duda shows why he's an elite player. Instead of backing down, he counterattacks with queen to h4, a brave move. Magnus, cool as a surgeon, responds with knight to g3. Duda keeps pressing, knight to e5. Magnus forces trades with knight takes c6. Duda recaptures, knight takes c6. And now Carlsen drops a killer idea, rook to c4, a rook activation that looks like a nightmare. Duda retreats, queen to e7. Magnus keeps tightening, bishop to c2, silent but deadly. Duda, whose queen is basically lost on a sightseeing tour of the board, steps to queen to e8. From e7 to h4, back to e7, and now e8. This queen is flip-flopping more than a politician mid-campaign. The prelude to chaos arrives, knight to h5. Duda tries to plug the sun with his finger, playing f5. Magnus doesn't even flinch. Bishop takes f8, winning the exchange. Duda recaptures. King takes f8. Magnus brings in the monster, knight to f4. Duda, as his last stand, shoves with b5. Now pause the video right here. What would a normal human play? Obviously, move the rook. Okay, now scrap that idea completely, because this is where the Magnus crazy sale begins. Discount move number 1, the rook clearance special. He plays rook takes c6. Nope, he doesn't save it, doesn't defend it, just puts it in the display window. Duda, eyes wide, takes, queen takes c6. Now he's up the exchange, also threatening the knight. Next offer, the lethal combo deal. Magnus upgrades the sale, delivering bishop takes e6. Absolutely insane. Duda gobbles up the bait, bishop takes f4. Now he's got a full piece up, but Magnus keeps hammering, rook to d8 check. King slides, king to e7. Looks like Duda might hang on, but here comes the final clearance sale. He doesn't just stop there. He busts out rook takes c8, sacrificing the other rook. Duda takes it, rook takes c8. And now, the magic move, the knife that explains it all. Bishop to d5, check, a discovered attack. King stumbles to king to f6, and Magnus calmly reaps his reward. Bishop takes c6, winning the queen. Duda reluctantly recaptures, rook takes c6. And with that wild clearance storm fading and the dust settling on the board, it's harvest season for Magnus. With queen against rook and bishop, the advantage is overwhelming. First, a safety move, g3. Black pulls back with bishop to e5. Magnus starts raking in. Queen takes b5. Black tries rook to b6. Magnus keeps the squeeze. Queen to d7. Duda lashes out for survival. Rook takes b2. That's the classic American idiom. Might as well grab a souvenir. If I'm going to get clobbered, at least I'll take a pawn home. The white queen keeps cleaning up. Queen takes a7. Black swipes for counterplay. Rook to d2. Carlsen calmly keeps control with precise maneuvers. Queen to b6 check. King to f7. He follows with queen to a5. Duda refuses to go quietly. He checks with rook to d1 check. Like a buzzing fly in your ear when you're trying to sleep. Annoying, not deadly. The white king steps to king to g2. Black shuffles to king to f6. Now the hero of the ending shows up. a4. That pawn starts sprinting up the board like an NFL running back who just broke the defensive line and has nothing but green grass ahead. Duda throws a block with bishop to d4. Magnus replies with laser checks. Queen to d8 check. King to g6. Queen to d6 check. King to f7. And the pawn keeps rolling. a5. Duda pulls his last bullet. Rook to d2. And then the killing blow. The single move that ties everything together. Queen to f4. Covers everything. Threatens everything. Defends everything. Basically handing Duda an elegant invitation to resign. And he does. And there you have it. The autopsy of a demolition in 41 moves. This is how Magnus Carlsen shredded half his army and still won. Proof that in chess, sometimes less really is more. Less pieces, but more initiative, more attack, and way more venom. What did we learn today? First, Magnus Carlsen is the biggest shark in the pond. Second, if Magnus ever offers you a free piece, don't touch it. Run, and don't look back, because you're already doomed. I hope you enjoyed this tactical bloodbath as much as I did. If you did, absolutely annihilate that like button. Subscribe so you don't miss the next bit of chess craziness. And drop your thoughts in the comments about Magnus's generosity with his clearance sale sacrifices. See you on the board. Until next time.